testing. I'm sorry, if you would please stand as we offer prayer, then a pledge of allegiance. If you would join me in a moment of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for our many blessings. We thank you for the opportunity to gather this evening. We ask that you continue to bless our first responders, our military, our educators. We also ask that you keep the family of Eddie Seal in memory this evening. We ask this in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Sherry Talbot, if you would, please.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time, Ms. Vernon, Sandra, if you would, please call the roll.
Steve Ward.
Here.
Sherry Tolbert.
Present.
Jason Daniel.
Here.
Kim DeShazo.
Here.
Kathy Brown.
Here.
I'd like to welcome everyone this evening, and at this time I would ask if there's a motion to adopt the agenda. If you've all had a chance to look at it, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. This time, I believe Lisa Bright, Councilor Bright, if you're here, if you'd like to speak this evening.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. And thank you for the prayers for the Seal family. Wanted to make a statement on behalf of the mayor and city council. Our deepest sorrows as Eddie Seal passed away this past weekend, and great leader and servant heart for the city. Of course, Barbara, a longtime employee of Trussville City Schools, he'll be greatly missed. And just please keep that family in your prayers as they walk through these next steps of their grief journey. On a similar note, we keep having these storms in Trussville, so we had like 5 roads that were closed or partially blocked over the weekend for the storm. So Public Works is doing their best. They worked all day Saturday, all day Sunday to get those roads cleaned up as best we can, so please be patient with them as they're continuing to get the trees cut. I think power is completely restored, unless there's somebody in here that still doesn't have power. It was a lot bigger storm than we anticipated, so thankful for our Public Works people. If you see them, honk your horn and wave at them. They're working really hard. We've had 2 storms back to back, and it really puts us behind in normal services, so please be patient with that. We do have council tomorrow night. I will say that we have removed the garbage fee from our agenda, so if you were planning on coming and speaking on behalf of that, that has been removed. We also have Leadership Trussville, which if you've never considered being a part of that, we would encourage you to do the application process. That will be through the end of June. You can apply. It's a 9-month program. It's a fantastic program. Teaches you all things about Trussville, the history, things going on. I went through it the very first year, and I've lived here for 36 years, and I learned a lot. So encourage you to do that. It's leadershiptrussville.org if you're interested in participating in that program. And I think that's all that I have. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Martin.
All right, this is one of our favorite Board of Education meetings. As I look out into the crowd at so many of our valuable employees, and we really have a chance to celebrate those of you that will be retiring at the conclusion of this past school year. So what I'm going to do to start is bring up principals I'll start with you, Dr. Faust, if that's okay, with Magnolia Elementary School. So Dr. Faust is going to speak on several of our Magnolia Elementary School retirees, but Dr. Faust is also going to be retiring effective June 1st, correct? I did call Dr. Faust. I called her on Friday at 5:30, and I believe that was on May 30th. Is I correct? Yes, because what Dr. Faust shared with me was that she was going to be retiring on June 1st, which was a Sunday. So I reminded her that since her retirement was effective on the 1st, I would see her Saturday morning at 7 o'clock a.m., and then also on Sunday at 7 o'clock a.m. Yes, no, we didn't. She said, I'll be there, give me a call 30 minutes before you head that way. So, which was good. You know, Dr. Faust, I'm not going to go through all of these, and Dr. Faust started teaching science back in the 1900s. correct?
Yes, I did, that's right.
Had a chance to then be an assistant principal and then principal at the middle school, stepped to the ALC, and probably the thing I would say most proud of is the culture, climate, and family that you have created there at Magnolia Elementary School. So we congratulate you and thank you, Dr. Faust. I think we have a... Yes, all right. Magnolia Principal Retiree, Dr. Phyllis Faust, if you can get her.
Okay, I'll be happy to. Thank you, Dr. Martin. Yes, I randomly chose June 1. I'm just going to tell you. I didn't look at the calendar, so I apologize for that, Dr. Martin. But, you know, it was the first of the month, so that's what I went with. So anyway, I will tell you that this is the second, going on the second week of retirement for me, and it's going quite well. Going very well, just so you know. So, at Magnolia, I am very proud of the culture that we have created, and I know that it will continue. And so we are looking at Miss Cindy Burns, and I don't think Cindy, is she at the, she's at the beach, I think that's what I heard. But Cindy Burns, I was very proud of everything that she accomplished at Magnolia. She is a fantastic first grade teacher, and I think that it is only fair to tell you about Cindy in the fact that she has done several things within our school family. One of the things that she did was took over at the end of the school year, our celebration, and we had the luau, and so we hulaed and we did all kinds of things, but it was because of Cindy and the way that she continued with that end of the year celebration. And then the second thing, which I am really most proud of, is our journey through the genres. She wanted to kick up our reading program at Magnolia, and she did. She basically thought this up on her own, and hey, I'm good. Let's go with it. And so basically, we looked at each genre, and our kids, we upped our reading, and it was fantastic. So I'm sad that she's here, not here tonight, but I do want you to, can we hear a round of applause for Cindy Burns? Now, Wendy Mann, I taught with back in the junior high days, and Wendy is a fantastic, I don't see her here. Oh, there, Wendy! Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here! Now, let me tell you why. I'm so glad you're here. Because Wendy does not like all the pomp and circumstance, so I did not think you were going to be here, so I'm very proud of you. But Wendy and I did. We taught together at the junior high, and we go back a long ways. And so when she was going to come over to the Gate world, coming from special ed, I was super excited to have her at Magnolia. Even if it was only for part-time, I shared her with Lisa. And so, but we loved Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays because she is an outstanding educator, and I know you're going to go on to do great and wonderful things. So, congratulations. And last but not least, Thomas Warren. Come on, Thomas. Yes. Now, Thomas will tell you, every time I see him, I always told him one thing, and that was, get to work. That's right, Thomas. And Thomas has been at Magnolia, and he has been just a light. Everyone loves Thomas. Thomas just does his working on the job, and as you may or may not know, but we have 3 custodians at Magnolia. This year, we only had 2. And so Miss Joy, who is now out with, she had to have foot surgery, Thomas really, he held it all together. So I didn't have to fuss on him too much. He doesn't listen to me anyway, so it doesn't really matter if I fussed or not. But Thomas Warren, everyone.
Would you take a picture, Dr. Ward, would you take a picture with, I know April's coming over.
Let's go
You go to the middle and, yeah, you.
That's the privilege. Hey, done by me. That corner,
All right, our next building that we'll be looking at for retirees is Payne Elementary School, and their principal, Dr. Lisa Losbike. If you'd come forward, Dr. Losbike will be retiring at the end of this month as well as a principal. Started in 2004 as a third grade teacher and then quickly moved into the math field, supporting the school system in math. And I think several of you may have seen this, but we recognized Payne Elementary School with a class banner award that they received in the area of math. And I know you were very proud of that, something you've worked very hard on. I think that your work in the area of math for Trussville City Schools will resonate here for many years to come. So we are very appreciative of you and your leadership at Payne Elementary School. So Dr. Lisa Losbike, principal of Payne. And then I know that Janet's not here, but do you want to say a couple of words to Janet, please? Please.
Yes, I would love to. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Martin. First of all, it's been a joy and a privilege to work for Trussville City Schools, and I have 7 of the reasons that I'm retiring sitting out there, all those little people back there. And so I'm going to be shifting from principal to Mimi, so I'm really excited about that. I wanted to take a minute. Janet Curley is also retiring, and she couldn't be here tonight. But I wanted to say a few words about her because she was such an important part of our school. She worked the front desk, so when you came into Payne, that's who you saw. She was the face of Payne Elementary. That's what I always called her. But I want to describe her a little bit. She was the calm in the storm with 1,300 plus students. She just kept everything so calm up there. It didn't matter what was going on. She was the voice on the phone you could count on. She followed up on everything and just did everything beautifully. She was the welcoming smile at the front desk. She knew everyone's name. I don't know how she did it, but she knew everyone's name. She was also the funniest person I know, just hysterical, kept us all laughing, and she was the heart of our office. So as great of a job as she did, her kindness and compassion just was just beyond that. She knew if you were having a stressful day, she knew. She was very intuitive. She wouldn't ask you anything. She'd just come grab you and give you a hug, and she would even kiss you on the forehead. She used to do that to me all the time. And so she just kissed me on the forehead. And so she's going to be greatly missed by Payne Elementary, and I'm super proud of her. So round of applause for Janet Curley. I would love to.
Absolutely. Would the 7 reasons that Dr. please come forward? Yes.
7 of 8.
7 of 8. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Because you all still have it, so take a...
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You're all yours now.
Great picture.
All right, I'm going to ask Joy Tyner, principal at Cahaba Elementary School, if she would come forward and share with our retirees from Cahaba.
Yes, I think we have 3 here tonight. And all 3 of these ladies were pivotal with setting the culture at Cahaba. They were with me when we opened that building in 2016. So I'll start with Miss Angela Shorter. She is a kindergarten teacher, and she was my teacher. The majority of the experience that I had in leadership was with upper elementary. I didn't know much about kindergarten or first grade at all. I did my best to ask questions and sit in classrooms so I could hear the heart and mind of an early childhood educator, and Angela gave me a chance to learn. Many of you know that not only did students in her classroom learn reading readiness and phonemic awareness and numeracy, they learned all about birds, they learned about gardens, they learned about life cycles, and they had impeccable behavior when they left her classroom. So she taught us how much fun learning can be, and I am pledging to keep that passion going in our kindergarten to where our students have a love of the great outdoors and carry on your heart for early childhood education. Thank you, Angela. So Linda Odom taught second grade. I know you taught other grades too, but to me, you've only been a second grade teacher. And she served on our teacher leadership committee. She has been my prayer partner and a stand-in mom for countless numbers of young teacher mamas. She's been the voice of reason for nervous parents. She's changed the hearts of countless numbers with her hugs. Linda's wisdom and wit and our conversations about the best shoes for people our age will live in the halls of Cahaba for many, many years. Not only in our hearts, but through all your former students and student interns that now teach because of you. And I think one of your former students is actually moving into your classroom. So thank you, Linda, for giving so much of your life to education and to others. Thank you. And last but not least, our fantastic cafeteria manager, food nutrition supervisor, whatever they call you. We all call her Miss Peggy, Peggy Reinholz. Miss Peggy transformed a boxy cafeteria space into a happy, inviting place for children, staff members, and Cahaba parents. So after a particularly challenging day finding spaces for all our parents and grandparents to sit while joining their students from lunch, I had a conversation with Peggy because I felt like our cafeteria had turned into the hottest lunch place in town, and we couldn't keep up. We were pulling tables out in hallways and everywhere else. So she was always good. She always stayed on schedule. The food was always great. She always got that 100 on those health department checks. But that's not why people loved our cafeteria. And it was because Miss Peggy, always free with compliments, always encouraging, and all those smiles that she gave to all 544 of our students and teachers. So thank you, Peggy, for treating everyone so well and making Cahaba such a special place. We love you. Yeah.
Ladies, thank you. Our next school is Trussville Middle School, and I do want to mention, unfortunately, this evening, Jared Meads is not able to be here. Please keep the Meads families and their family in your thoughts and prayers, if you would. Standing in for Mr. Meads is Erin McGuire, and she's going to represent us for the middle school.
All right, so I get to speak about Miss Barbara. And if you've ever been in middle school, she could probably tell you some great stories about what she has seen inside of a middle school. In almost her 20 years, we were talking earlier that she's come with us from the old middle school, which is now Cahaba, into our current building. So she's traveled with us for a long time. What I want to say about Miss Barber, besides just being an excellent employee and giving all that she has and working very, very hard for us, is that she loved people, that she loved the staff, that she was very concerned about our kids. Even to this day, she still asks about our kids, our spouses, our pets, our just everything about our life, that she really was someone that truly loved being at the middle school, not just for the kids, but also for us as adults and checking in on us. So, Miss Barbara, if you come on up and receive your plaque, congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you, Ms. Barber. All right. We have Hewitt Trussville High School, and Mr. King is at a conference this week, so he is not able to be here, but I would ask Ms. Joy Young if she would come forward, please. Just looking through Miss Young's resume here, she has been in the business of business. Wouldn't you agree? Taught business for several years, stepped into an academic role as the director of academics, and then has been our CTE director since 2012. I would say one of the highlights, I'm sure, for Miss Young is what she's done with our CTE program. I actually received a phone call from an area superintendent who they also have STEM certification through Cognia. And so he was very excited about that. But his next comment was, well, now we hope that can translate into wonderful programs like you have in CTE. So we are known in not just the Birmingham area, but statewide for having a wonderful, excellent CTE program. And that is something that you, Ms. Young, have worked very hard to build. So I congratulate you on that. One other thing that I would like to say, and this was something that predated me, but we had an opportunity at the high school to honor Miss Young. And so many teachers stood up and thanked her for when the ship was a little rocky, she grabbed the steering wheel and she directed the ship to shore. And I think she deserves a round of applause for that. All right, next we have our transportation department, and I'm going to ask Mr. Kirkland if he would come forward.
Come on up, Dale. After several years with us now, Mr. Posey has decided to run out on us. No, he has been a transportation director for about 10 years now, and has done an absolute phenomenal job. When I was interviewing, and I actually reached out to Dale and asked him if he'd be interested, and of course had to talk him into it a little bit. I did a caveat, and I said, he might have to drive a route here or there. Oversimplified that by a stretch. What a lot of people doesn't know is that Dale usually drives a route in the morning, works his shift, and then drives a route in the afternoon. So, you know, the summers we do 410s, and Dale kind of laughs at that because he does way more than that. But that's Dale. He's always done so much beyond what is necessary. He became an advocate for his drivers, his mechanics, and the students that he carries. He has so much pride and the kids that they bring to school and take home safely. And it is truly a mission for him. And he's become a friend, and I'm going to miss him a lot. But he's done a phenomenal job for Trussville, and please join me in a round of applause.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. We have a few other retirees. Mr. Massey is actually our shop foreman, and his retirement date is the end of August, but he's at state conference right now. And our drivers that we have retiring, oddly enough, we hit a middle school, a high school, and an elementary school at each one of those. So Mrs. Sisson is the only driver that's here today, but Mr. Duncan is a Cahaba driver. And these folks, I was a teacher and an assistant principal, so I kind of went through the whole thing. But driving a bus and getting up when nobody else is up and moving around, and Mr. Duncan also works another job in another system. It's just this side of the world was not what I expected it to be, and it's pretty impressive what these folks do. But like I said, Mr. Duncan's at Cahaba Elementary School, and he is not here this evening. Let's give Mr. Duncan a round of applause, please. Mr. Partington is a high school driver, and if you want to know the latest route we have, you would just follow Mr. Partington back to the high school at about 5 p.m. every afternoon. He would come rolling in, which was the route I luckily got to drive a bunch because he had to retire on medical leave, so that was me coming in every afternoon at 5 p.m. But he was a guy that left. I don't know what time the man left. No matter how early I got to work, he was already gone. So Mr. Partington was a high school driver. Those guys, he went, they carry like 20 kids, but his route's 2 hours long because not a lot of high school kids ride. So Mr. Partington's a great guy, just like Mr. Duncan, HCS driver, Bob Partington. All right, Mrs. Sisson. Come on up, Mrs. Sisson. She is here this evening. I know this is going to make a noise. It's hard squatting over. So Ms. Sisson is a middle school driver. She's also an early bird. I have lots of stories for her. Most of them are good. She got back before we were all of our buses are air conditioned now. Thank you, Mr. Kirkland and Dr. Martin. But before that, it was based off of length of route is how we ended up doing it. So if somebody went on a field trip, they would take an air-conditioned bus during the day for field trips, just so you wouldn't be sweating your eyes out on the bus. Ms. Sisson, I don't know, I'm not a medical doctor, but I think she might have a touch of OCD in her body somewhere. She has a 2018 bus, and I'm telling you, if you went over and looked at it on the lot right now, you would have thought it just came off the showroom floor. She waxes the hood, she waxes the floor. I mean, am I lying? A sub drove it one day and there was some trash on the floor, and I came in the next morning and she was in the seat shaking. So I actually made a deal that because she kept her bus so clean, we didn't take her bus on field trips. Her bus stayed put because nobody could clean it as good as her, and to be honest with you, I don't want to listen to her complain about it. So I made a deal. That was a pretty good story, right? And then, not to divulge a lot of personal information, but she lives in Trussville Springs. So sometimes a train will stop in Trussville Springs, right? So when I say to you, please don't crawl underneath that train to get to the bus to drive your bus, and you did it anyway, she wasn't going to miss. I mean, I don't know that she ever missed, to be honest with you. She had, I've driven her bus on occasion when things have come up, and I had to look up and see if there were kids on the bus. They were so dang good. It's unbelievable the control she has over these kids. It's pretty impressive. So anyway, Rhonda Sisson, everybody.
All right, we have one more individual to recognize from the Board of Education, but before I do, I would invite everyone that's here, if you would like. We're going to have a short reception after the board meeting for all of our retirees, which, looking at our retirees, they're saying you need to move through this board meeting pretty quickly. So we'll make sure we do so and then have a short reception to honor you afterwards. Our last individual, our last retiree from the Board of Education is Dr. Cheryl Gilbo. All right, I actually printed off your resume here, Cheryl, because I wanted to share just a couple of aspects from this. I've said this more than once, but Dr. Gilbo does have a bachelor's degree from Louisiana State University, LSU. If you go into her office, you would know that. She is an outstanding special education director. And so when I saw they were building a walk-ons right next to our Board of Education with a window overlooking it, and the scent of Cajun food coming towards our office, I began to be a little bit concerned. Being from LSU, wonderful Cajun food, I was concerned that you would be looking at retirement and heading back that way, which I think that you are, correct? Dr. Gilbo has countless degrees. She has worked for NASA. She has a doctorate from Vanderbilt University. Cheryl, I believe you could have done anything in this world that you would have liked to, and you dedicated a 30-plus career to students with special needs. And I think that says everything that you have to say. I think that your heart is in that area. You've had meetings with parents, parent advisory committee meetings in the area of special needs. It truly is your heart, and it has been our blessing at Trussville City Schools to have you leading that department. Thank you.
Again, to all of you, the retirees, thank you for all of your service. We appreciate you very much. I believe at this time, it's time for our financial report. Mr. Kirkland.
Sorry. Had to get my eyes on. I thought the cake was for those who made it through the financial report. We might be on to something here. Actually, this month, due to the early board meeting, I don't have our normal monthly financial report to bring to you. We'll have it at our next board meeting. However, we are bringing our budget amendment to you tonight. And as normal, the budget amendment is usually kind of minor, kind of small. There are a few things that we have to do in order to present the budget back to the State Department. Basically, as we'll see in the next couple of months, we'll be having budget hearings for the next fiscal year. So we bring to the board a budget recommendation before the current fiscal year has ended, which is natural. So after the fiscal year has ended, we have to amend the budget to bring forward those ending balances into the current year. So that's the main reason for a budget amendment. is to bring the 24-year ending balances into the 25-year budget. Also, there are funds that we received from the State Department that at the point in time we did the original budget, we either didn't know about or hadn't had the applications approved or various reasons that they were not in the original budget. So we have several situations like that. And then just some minor tweaks here and there. I will say, again, very little adjustments to revenues or expenditures. Payroll, we're running right at 2% of budget, actually a little bit less than 2% of budget, so I didn't really see a need to significantly change that. So that'll be a pretty good ending. Revenues, we have sales taxes a little lower than budgeted, not by much, but some. Ad valorem is right on budget, but we also have some other revenues that are coming in above budget, which kind of washes all of that. So really, I didn't tweak revenues that much. And I know this is very small, and I'm sorry. But one thing you will notice in the general fund column, which basically is the operation of the school district, revenues at $64 million, expenditures at 69, other uses of 5 for a use or expenditure of $11 million over revenue. And that's usually kind of obviously not normal, but if you'll go ahead to the next slide, please, April. This is a 3-year comparison of our fund balance, and it'll kind of explain, just like I said, one of the reasons why we have to do a budget amendment is when we receive funds from the state that was not in the original budget. And if you look at the 24-25 budget, we had budgeted ending at $26 million, but if you look at the actual, right in the middle, the net change was $11.5 million, which means we had that much money rolling over into the current year. So now if you look at the 25-26 budget, you see we have a deficit of $11.1 million. So basically, we're spending what we received last year, if that makes sense. But if you look at the bottom balance, you know, we went from basically $26 million to $28 million, which is right on that 5-month reserve, which we've talked about for many, many years that we're trying to maintain in the general fund. And I'll say most of that money, the $11 million, is in 2 sources of funds. A&T budget, which is about $5 million, and the $4 million from the Ainsworth grant for the softball, so that's 9 of your $11 million right there. So that's unusual, and that's why I wanted to point it out specifically, just in case you had any questions there.
Very good, thank you.
Also, each year, we are required by law to undergo a financial audit. It is a process that takes several months. We have people come in and look at the financials, look at legal compliance with various programs. And tonight, I would like to introduce Jason Hart with Carr, Riggs & Ingram, who will present to you the final report for our audit. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. As Jim said, I'm Jason Harp. I'm with Carr, Riggs & Ingram. I laid the financial statements, the draft, each at your place, and since I realized there's cake going on, I was going to go through all 71 pages, but I'm going to go kind of short and hit some highlights and certainly entertain any questions that you may have. And as Jim did a great job of introducing that related to a financial statement audit, and if you'll turn to page, well, it's not really page number, maybe 4 or 5 pages in, you will see a letterhead that has a bunch of small writing on it, and that's from us. That is our audit opinion, and we're doing an unmodified opinion, which sounds unusual, but that's what you want. You don't want us changing our opinion. And if you read through this, it really goes through a lot of the processes and procedures that we do in a financial statement audit. So we do a lot of internal control testing, vouching, analytical procedures, asking a whole lot of questions, doing a lot of confirming, those type things. And this letter and this report kind of goes through that. You'll hear that term audit, and there's materiality limits. We don't necessarily look at every single transaction that goes through. That's a different kind of audit. A financial statement audit has different things that we're really shooting for and aiming for, and this letter talks about that. The other thing I want to point out is if you'll flip to page 9, and forgive me for it being such a big financial report. Governmental accounting is really unusual. It's not like corporate. There's a whole lot more that goes on with it. But we mainly live, and as Jim just pointed out, we mainly live in a fund world. So you'll hear general fund and capital projects fund. And page 9 is the fund income statement. And I kind of like to go, when I'm doing these, kind of highlight that. And in our case, really the general fund is where we like to hang out and live a good bit. And you'll see we had a very healthy increase in the general fund during the year ended 9/30/24. We added about $11 million, and that ended with about a $34 million general fund balance. That's very important, and I think if you work through the calculations, and Jim may have done this probably with you, it's about 6 months of operating reserves. You're required to have 30 days, so you're certainly above that, and I think that's a testament to the board and to Jim and to Dr. Martin about fiscal responsibility. And that's kind of a hard thing in a government, because you want to be able to, do everything you need to do, but at the same time you want to have some fiscal responsibility and help with your entity, and I think that's indicated by this. We're not necessarily giving an opinion on that, but I think that's certainly important to know. And lastly, way back in the back on page 64, we release a letter we call required communications, and I think if you're reading through this, it's helpful to go through this letter, because it tells you a lot of things we do. Again, in a financial statement audit, there is, we've had no disagreements with Jim. There's a whole lot of estimates that are involved in one of these audits, and even in your financials. For instance, pensions. Tons of estimates go into pension accounting. That you don't want to, it gets really complicated, but mortality tables, those kind of things. Your other post-employment benefit liability, tons of things go into that. Healthcare costs. This letter, among other things, kind of talks through that. How estimates are involved in your financial statements, and even goes through new pronouncements we have to go through. Each year things change, and it talks about that. So I think that's important. This letter to go through those items. And lastly, I certainly want to thank Jim and his staff. An audit is, as he said, it's a pain, and God's got a sense of humor, because over the past year and a half, I've been helping another over-the-mountain local government with some interim finance director duties, and one of the things they ask is, hey, can you handle the audit? And I said, well, yeah, that's easy to do. And after about 2 weeks, I said, this is the most irritating thing I've ever been through. They keep asking questions. They keep coming back wanting stuff I've already given them. I'm about to lose my mind. And after several decades of doing this, I finally realized on this side, this is not fun. So anyway, thank you, Jim, for having patience with us. And he's right. It's several months of a lot of questioning and bothering him. And really, they have their daily job, so they've got to deal with that and then deal with us. So it really, you've got a good finance department, and I appreciate that. And that is a very, very critical thing in any kind of local government. You want good finance people. So anyway, I appreciate that, and certainly appreciate everything the board does. So with that, I've condensed this 71 pages into a few minutes, but I certainly will take, if you want to talk about government accounting, I'm delighted to stay here all evening and talk about that, but generally that is not a hot topic. But anyway, I will answer any questions you might have, though.
No, we can talk about that over cake.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody would love to talk about GASB 84, so anyway. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And to reiterate, Mr. Kirkland, your staff thank you. We appreciate this very much, as always. Thank you. We're at the point now where we have a consent agenda. Everyone's had an opportunity to look at that. Does anyone, do I have a motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. At this time, Dr. Martin, is there anything you'd like to bring up with?
Just the only discussion for consent agenda, we have the approval of the budget amendment that Mr. Kirkland just provided, a couple of bid renewals for facilities, items such as janitorial, school lawn care, facility use agreements. You'll see several summer field trip requests. Do want to mention that Coach Walker has brought to the Board of Education a renewal of our agreement with ATI, which they provide sports therapy services. And then Ms. Chamberlain has requested an agreement here with ALET, which is the Alabama Leaders in Educational Technology. Essentially what this will do is, instead of each individual school system across the state of Alabama approving individual contracts with vendors, this is a source where we can all go, and once one agreement has been approved, we can access those through ALET. So that's a good service for us. But no, Dr. Ward, that is consent agenda for the evening.
Okay, thank you. And we'll move on to personnel issues.
All right, items here under the personnel report. Members of the board can see we have a few retirements. We have 4 recommendations of resignations, a resignation of supplement. Members of the board can see item number 4 there, recommendations for transfer, reassignment. Item 5, recommendations for employments. You can see that our principals have been busy here already into the summer, making recommendations for personnel requests for the various positions that they have open at this time. Employee extra services agreement, recommendations for schedule change, a few coaching recommendations, and then recommendation for a leave of absence. And so there is one item that I would like to speak to under the personnel report, but how about I do that after I answer any questions members of the board have? No questions on personnel report? Okay. There is one individual that I would like to bring to the attention of the board who's here with us this evening. Back in the month of May, we had the opportunity to celebrate Coach Tanya Hunter and her family for the contribution that they made to Trussville City Schools. As you all know, Coach Hunter is moving into a administrative capacity, serving as our assistant athletic director and supporting Coach Walker. It is my great pleasure here in the month of June to introduce our new girls basketball coach in the corner. I'm going to make her come up, and she's probably not going to like that. Her and her family. This is Coach Kayla Alexander. She is our new girls basketball coach. If we can give her a round of applause. All right. Her husband is in the back. And I know the 2 twins are here, but okay, they must be with Lori Walker. Yes. All right. So I had asked Coach Walker if he would come up and tell us a little bit about Coach Alexander.
Thank you. It's an exciting night for us. We want to welcome Coach Alexander and her family here. She comes with great experience in the last decade. She's been UAB, part of the coaching staff there, and really had a vital role in all that they've accomplished. So her husband Tim and their family actually live here in Trussville. So as we went through the interview and talked with her, she said a lot of great things. But one thing that I wrote down, she said, the goal of a high school coach is to impact the young people in the community. And there's no better place to do that than the place you live. So, Coach, welcome. We're excited about the season coming up, and welcome to the Husky family.
All right. Correct. I was going to ask Coach Alexander to say something, but we have probably about 15, 20 high school basketball players who are going to be joining us at 6:30. They have no idea who their new coach is going to be. So I'm going to ask her to reserve her comments for the team, if that's okay. Thank you, Coach. But that is our personnel report for the evening.
Very good. We'll now move to new business.
We need to approve.
Approve personnel.
Yeah, personnel.
We'll need to move on this particular item of personnel. Do I have a motion to adopt the personnel report?
I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right. Yes. Thank you,
Welcome.
Coach.
New business?
New business. All right. Item number 1 under new business is a recommendation to approve the 25-26 TCS salary schedule effective July 1, 2025, as well as job description titles that match the new schedules. This is an action item that is a follow-up to one that we had in the month of May. It is sat now for 30 days, and now we bring that back to the Board of Education for final approval as well as implementation.
Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments?
This is the lean frog, right?
This is the lean frog. Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
And some of the surplus, or some of the money that Jim was referring to that will be rolling over is going to go
That's
for
right.
this salary step.
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
Do I have a motion to adopt? We did? We did?
Yeah,
Okay.
second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I believe we now,
I'll let you introduce Ava Cranmore with
okay, we move to that. Ms. Crane Moore, I believe you're with us right now. If you have a report to make for us.
Okay. So I'm Ava Kramer from the Alabama Association of School Boards, and we partnered with the Trussville City Schools to be an outside party to do the evaluations of your superintendent and CSFO. By law, they are required to have their evaluation presented in public, unlike us that get to have them in private. So we do have a virtual meeting beforehand, so there are no surprises in public, which we did meet and discuss some of the scores, and everything can follow along, and another positive announcement. So the board also can leave comments for the superintendent and the CSFO. It gives them feedback on how well they're doing, which is the point of the evaluation. This is not a gotcha situation. This is just probably feedback that we are on track, that if there's areas that we need to change or strengthen. So it's positive feedback that lets them know how they're doing. So as we move along, with Dr. Martin, if we go to the rating scale, as you're aware, so we are looking for a proficient that is meeting expectations. He's doing all his job duties, and he's doing them well. So if you go to the next slide, the overall rating from the board for the superintendent was proficient. So proficient is good. That is the best, what we look for. But in strategic leadership, he did come out as accomplished, which is the highest score. And a couple of indicators for that, just so you're aware, is builds a positive collaborative working relationship with the board to create a shared vision and establishes clear priorities of system goals and objectives. The comments, I don't read them since they're individual and don't speak for the whole board, but overall, reading the comments, all the board members who did share feel that they do have a positive and collaborative relationship with the superintendent. For instructional leadership, was proficient, and I want to point out these proficient, when I say that, they are leaning towards accomplished. They are just a 10th of a point away. So they are high-scoring proficient ratings. For instructional leadership, he does set clear district objectives, targets, and high standards focused on goals for teaching and learning, and collaborates with staff to ensure implementation of best practice for teachers and students. I reviewed your report card before I left today, and as an A system, that means you have a high-achieving board and governance team. So that's congratulations for your system. Managerial leadership was proficient. Leverages system resources to attain their best use to support learning goals, ensures the safety of staff and students by developing safety, crisis, emergency response plans, and the system's security plan. Through the comments, as I read them, there's a common theme of setting high expectations for your student achievement and for safety of all. Human resources leadership was proficient. I know in human resources, one of the areas that many systems, not just Trussville City Schools, having is with teacher recruitment. That's something we discussed during our virtual meeting. That is an ongoing process that the board and the superintendent will continuously be looking at, especially at this time when we do have a deficit with students. going into education. If you're not aware, that education in colleges is really low, so we don't have a lot going into it. But as human resources leadership, he engages system leaders as a professional learning community to advance the system's goal and strategic plan. It identifies system and school needs regarding recruiting and hiring new staff. Climate engagement leadership uses multiple sources of feedback to create and maintain a positive environment and climate for the system, monitors the climate of the environment in individual schools and throughout the system. I understand that Dr. Martin is seen a lot in the community and is actively involved in numerous clubs and seen about quite everywhere. So for the superintendent, the overall score is a high proficient. Does the board have any questions for the superintendent before I move on? Okay. Also, Mr. Kirkland had his evaluation. As a CSFO, he had the same rating scale, and we are looking for proficient. Before I start the CSFO evaluation, I'd like to remind everyone that a CSFO is not made in college. In college, you receive the finance or accounting background, and then you come back. If you become a CSFO, you then have to go through a certification program. So so you're learning as you work, and you're going to school and getting the certification, and it's a continuous one. So as we go forward for the categories, his overall rating was accomplished, and I'll go through 3 categories. For fiscal leadership, the highest, just a few things I want to point out, monitors and analyzes the system budget and financial information monthly and keeps the superintendent board fully informed of the system's financial position. Assists the superintendent to align resources to support the system's vision and goals, and audits received an unqualified opinion. For collaborative leadership, communicates with department heads in planning and managing specific budgets and projects, maintains clear, consistent, open communication with principals and school staff to ensure they understand financial policies and practices. And professional learning, to keep his certification for as a CSFO, improves professional knowledge and skills by participating in and completing annual financial training, specifically attaining and maintaining CSFO certification, and demonstrates skill in planning, organizing, and prioritizing job duties in a timely manner. So the overall score was accomplished. So what I'd like to leave with you today is know that your superintendent from the board is proficient, leaning towards accomplished in his duties, and the CSFO is accomplished, which is a positive evaluation. Do y'all have any questions?
Questions?
Thank you.
No.
Thank you, we appreciate it. Just as a follow-up to this, again, Dr. Martin, thank you for everything that you've done and doing for us. Mr. Kirkland, thank you for everything. We appreciate everything that you're doing. So with that, move on to our next item and have a resolution to the superintendent's contract.
Okay. I'd like to thank Ms. Cranmore. Appreciate you. Handled that very well in what probably, I think I speak for Jim, is the most awkward moment of our school year. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. So moving on to the next item, I think this has to be the
This is
Board
an
of
item
Education
that the Board of
President.
Education
Yeah.
initiates and requires no superintendent's recommendation, the next 2 items.
Yes,
Right,
thank you.
so it'll take a motion and a second from the board.
All right, thank you. We'll move on with that. We'll go
Sure,
to,
I can do it. Well, I mean, first of all, we've had a very positive night tonight. We've had a very good audit, and with no opinion, which I think is, I don't think we appreciate how unique that is, because we get it every year, but that is because Jim is just so good. So I commend you and thank you for that, and also getting the evaluations tonight. I mean, it's just a fabulous, just a testament to the hard work that's going into that our CSFO does and his team. And then the same being for our superintendent. I mean, y'all, like, we know where we've been, and we know where we are, we know where we're headed, and it's just, like, again, I think that we are all just so grateful and just so glad to be where we are. So thank you for your leadership, and we're very appreciative of that.
Thank you.
So I would move that with that I know that Mr. Colvin has drafted us up a new contract. I think it is certainly well-deserved to give these 2 gentlemen we'll start with Dr. Martin first, I guess, that we give him a merit-based raise and then make some tweaks to his contract. So I would move that we approve the resolution that has been prepared and you've all seen, and put that into effect.
You're making a motion?
I'm making the motion, yeah.
Okay, I'm seconding it. And I
All in
wanted to say
favor?
too, this,
Oh,
you
go ahead.
know, you made the statement, this is awkward, it's in public. And who else has their evaluations done in public? But it's a very thoughtful process, and I'm sure I speak for the rest of the board. I mean, I really took my time on that, and one thing that stuck out to me, it said, it's not an evaluation of the school system, but it has to go hand in hand. You know, it's an evaluation of your leadership skills and all that, but it's also an evaluation of how it looks working. And we appreciate your leadership, Jim. I mean, and you, thank goodness you had Jason right behind you tonight lifting you up, so that was a great thing. But thank you, and it's a pleasure to work with both of y'all. So, second from me. So, is that a vote?
Yeah, so that's a motion and a second. Yeah.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. Again, thank you, gentlemen, very much. All right, we did also approve a resolution for the contract for its chief financial officer. We need to carry that. Make a motion. Do we adopt that?
I'll move to adopt that.
Second.
I second it.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Motion carries. Mr. Kirkland, thank you. Administrative reports, Dr. Martin.
Administrative reports, and we're continuing with sharing out on various departments across the school system. And so this evening, we have Coach Lance Walker, who is going to be sharing with our athletic department. Coach Walker.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. We had a great year this year. Really proud of all our student athletes for all they accomplished, and our coaches. You know, since the filming of this video, we actually still call one of our baseball players named Mr. Baseball last night at an event in Jacksonville, and Corey Goodwin on our softball team was a 7A hitter for years. Fortunately, we have a very talented Chad Summers who has put this video recap together for us. So you guys can go ahead and play that, and I will answer any questions after.
This is Lance Walker, Athletic Director of Trussville Schools. I'm all athletes and all that they accomplished this year. Let's take a look at some of our highlights now. Varsity cross finished third at best finish since 2011. The girls varsity cross country team finished fifth at state, their top 8 finish for the 8th consecutive year. In varsity football, the Huskies qualified for the playoffs for the 10th time in the last 11 years. The 7th and 8th grade football team won the Metro Championship, going undefeated in the process. Varsity girls flag football went 13-2, advancing to the state semifinals. And the volleyball team had more wins than any other Hewitt-Trussville team in the last decade. In winter sports, the varsity basketball team won their 20th game for the first time since 2007. The 7th grade girls basketball team won the Metro Area Championship. In varsity girls bowling, they qualified for the state tournament, and the middle school girls bowling team were Metro champions. The varsity boys indoor track team finished third at state. The varsity girls indoor track team also finished third at state. In wrestling, the wrestling team finished fifth. It was their 13th top 8 finish in a row. The middle school cheer team finished second at Nationals in Orlando, Florida. In spring sports, the varsity baseball team won the area championship and were also ranked in the top 10 nationally. The varsity softball team advanced to postseason play for the 7th year in a row. The middle school softball team won the Metro Area Championship. In varsity girls golf, our ladies finished third at state. The varsity boys track team finished third at state as well. And Hewitt-Trussville Middle School, for the first time ever, won the All Sports Trophy in the Metro Conference. Sean Tosma was awarded the 7A Football Assistant Coach of the Year. And softball coach Taylor Burke won her 300th game at Hewitt-Trussville.
Special thanks to our Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. Martin, school administrators, coaches, and everyone in the city of Trussville that supported the Huskies this year. Our teams are already hard at work preparing for the fall, and we hope to see you soon. Go Huskies! This is Lance Walker, Athletics Director.
Any questions for Coach Walker? Okay, all right. Thanks, Coach. All right, the last administrative report that we have for this evening, we've shared this with the Board of Education. This is something that I'm pretty excited about. April Chamberlain and her team have been working very hard on a new website that will go live tomorrow, correct? So it's gone live as of now. Okay, so I know that you have a video that you're going to show as well on the new website, and let me share, I usually do a post-board meeting video for the community, and both of these videos, we'll find a way to make sure this gets into the social media of the community of Trussville. So, Ms. Chamberlain.
Well, we were a little late on the video, so I'm your live video for
Okay,
tonight.
all right.
So the video is actually coming out tomorrow. So we are changing our URL. So typically we've been TrussvilleCitySchools.com, which is really long. And so we have shortened that to TCSK12.us. And I want to point out the .us, because .com is from Mississippi. Another one is from North Carolina. There's a lot of TCS's school districts around. So we are TCSK12.us. If you still type in TrussvilleCitySchools.com, by tomorrow it will redirect you to our new site. So I just wanted to take a moment to show you some highlights of our new site. And so we are live here on the screens that you see. We wanted to keep it very similar to what we've had in the past. So we've got some great pictures that are going to scroll through. Underneath we have our icon panel of those are the top things that our parents ask us for, such as athletics, the calendar, the quick links into all software that the students need, what's for lunch that day, Power School for grades and registration, which we are in new student registration right now, and we will start returning students in a few weeks. We all have our great mission statement and 7 pictures that encapsulate what the district and each school's page mimics what the district is. So you'll see 7 pictures that encapsulates the school. Underneath the pictures, you will see news and announcements, such as the award that we're the 2025 Best Communities for Music Education. Also, if you advance to the next one, our In the Loop newsletter that goes out each week, you'll be able to find that easily on our webpage. Looking at what's the quick summary and the highlights, and to read the entire In the Loop, you'll click this button here. We also, Dr. Martin mentioned about the board summaries. So each one of these not only will be on the main district webpage, but also will be located on the school's pages. So we'll make sure that everyone gets to see those opportunities. And then we have our upcoming events. For parents and students, the most critical place for you is across this red bar at the top where it says students and families. So everything that families need are navigated on this page. You'll notice we have the pop-up for watching tonight's live board meeting right here, so I'll close that. And every school, like I said, mimics the district page, so they have students and families also that's specific to their school information. So this is the hub for everything you need from the athletics, the arts, the academies, information about attendance. One thing I want to point out that's pretty interesting with this new site is if you click on calendars on the district page. Now on the school pages, it just shows the school's calendar, but on the district page, you can find the printable version of our next 2 years calendar. But we were able to pull in all school calendars over here on the left. So I'm going to go back to the month of May, which had a lot of events going on. So if I was a family that had a child at Cahaba, the middle school and the high school, and I wanted to see what all is going on in my kid's school life that week or month, I can take all for deselect Payne and Trussville, Payne and Magnolia, because again, my students are at Cahaba Middle and High School. Say update calendar, and it's going to filter and show me just the events at my children's schools. So I can now see what's going on at those schools. I can print it out, and I can even subscribe to it so it will update me. So that's something unique to be able to see at a glance what's going on across all your children's schools. You can get to it from that location or calendars here. So there's a lot of things you can find out from the students and families. One other thing I would like to highlight
is the menu button in the upper right. So you can find out more specific information about our district. So since we're at the Board of Education right now, I wanted to click on that to show you. So if we click on Board of Education, you'll be able to see along the left side navigation where I can find out who are my board members and how to contact them, our policy manual, the board meetings and minutes, and then Office of Superintendent, so how to contact Dr. Martin and Sandra Vernon. So all this information lives within the Board of Education site. So please make sure to explore our website. Our school and district communication teams have been working hard on making sure the content is updated and pulled over. But families, if you find something that is not on the website, please let us know. We'll make sure to add that to us. And last but not least, we would love to invite anyone that's interested in joining our team to click our Join the Team button on this right-hand side. It's going to give a little more information about what is important in our district with teaching and learning, student services, operations, and even how to become a substitute teacher. And so we have that information along with job openings and descriptions and why you would love working for us in Trussville City Schools. So thank you guys for letting us share this opportunity and move forward with a new and updated website.
And I certainly appreciate April and the team, just countless hours going through and making sure this is up to date. And so we're excited to roll this out tomorrow.
I believe this time we have no one that has signed up for public participation. With that in mind, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Dr. Lostock, your grandchildren were the best behaved kids. Some had to skip out for The ones that are left, I mean, they're quiet as church mice back there. That's so good.
And that, right, and those of you, all of you encouraged to stay for the reception. So we are partially adjourned, but we're really not. But anyway, thank you all for coming. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.